Hey folks, welcome back to the Horde. So we're about 10 to 5 there. Yeah, I still haven't adjusted this. Still June 13th, Friday. It is 23.3 degrees centigrade, 73 degrees Fahrenheit. My batteries are not all charged up, and it's getting uglier and uglier out there, man. It's just like blowing this way. So I talked to my cousin down in Brooklyn, and she was telling me that it's raining to beat the band down there, and it looks like that is blowing up from Brooklyn. That's coming up from the south, so it looks like we're going to get it too. Last video I told you there were a couple of things I had to talk to you about. So one of them is this whole LED light thing, and we'll go through that in like 30 seconds. The second one is my son's house in York, Pennsylvania. So he's buying this house from these people who bought a fair-sized piece of property that had a house and a barn on it, and they subdivided the barn and most of the property off and sold it to somebody else and kept the house that I guess grandma was living in, and they redid the house. It's a turn-of-the-century house, and they did a real nice job redoing the house, new roof, did a real good job on it. And so my son puts an offer on it. It's accepted. It's out in York, Pennsylvania, Adams County, Pennsylvania, out there near York. It's not right in York. It's in Adams County. I'm not quite sure the little town it's in. And he's been going round and round with them over the septic system. He signed a contract to buy a house with a functional septic system. Turns out not only doesn't the septic system function, but to fix the situation, they need to put in a raised bed septic and all that. So the people have just been dragging their feet, I don't know if they've been feeding yeast to the old septic system or sacrificing chickens over the old septic system or whatever the hell they've been doing, but they couldn't get the old septic system to function. The Adams County Board of Health got involved, another engineer got involved, contractors got involved, and it turns out they need a $25,000 septic system. So for a house that they wanted to play flippy with, $25,000 on a $204,000 sale is a lot of money. So they want my son to come up with $10,000 of it. The person my son works for is a family that's fairly prominent in Adams County, and the family owns a big winery, a cider mill, all kinds of farms and all. And they're also into real estate because they have a tendency to buy these farms and add them to their land hoard and grow apples and grapes and everything they need to produce their wine and ciders. So my son's been dealing with this for a while, and he didn't want to ask his boss for work. My son works for the son of the family who's a lawyer, whose wife is a lawyer, whose father is a lawyer, whose grandfather is a lawyer, and they've all been doing real estate in Adams County for a while. So my son helped the kid out with some personal matters, and the son said, "By the way, how's your real estate deal going?" And Joe told him, his whole tale of woe. And the guy said, "Give me the contract." He looked at the contract and he said, "I'm going to call these people up. I'm going to tell them who I am. I'm going to tell them I'm representing you. And I'm going to tell them specific performance of this contract indicates that you have to sell a house with a completely functioning septic system, and that's on your dime. And Joe, you shouldn't be paying them anything toward it. Rather than pay them $5,000 or $10,000, go buy yourself a nice fancy Kubota tractor to cut your grass with, and this is bull, and they shouldn't be asking you for this. You didn't sign anything agreeing to pay, no, and on. And so that's where the house sits. I bring this up because I was supposed to go to the bank and get some certified checks today and then go there on Monday and, help go through the closing. But it looks like all that's going to be stalled for a while longer. My son, the one in York, Pennsylvania, is helping his in-laws move to Florida, so he's going to be tied up next week. So there's that deal. Secondly, on a more cool note, you guys know I got this whole 12 volt, power system, right? The solar charger. Right, there's the solar charger. It's a sun force that keeps that big Energizer battery up. It's a deep charge battery, a marine cell battery, charged. And I've been wanting to do a little more with it. I've implied that I wanted to put a car radio here and, some LED lighting. Well, to that end, you could see this LED light thing is lit up. I got these were an eBay deal. I don't know how many lights are on them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, you don't have to watch me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. So there's 36 LEDs, and you can see them kind of lit up down there on this. And they're supposed to be good for 600 lumens each. 600 lumens is like, from an incandescent point of view, 40 or 50 watts. Well, I'll show you. I'll close this down quick and just give you a quick demo. Doesn't help that green light's lit. I'll leave the back door or the front door, whatever you guys want to call it, opened. But just to give you an idea on the kind of light it puts out. I mean, it's quite a lot, right? When I take it away. Right? Well, here. So, I mean, it's hard with up at the ceiling, but once again, just to give you guys a rough idea of what it puts out for light. So, I'd guess, not that my eyeballs are calibrated in lumens, but I'd say that's probably somewhere around 40 watts. 40 watt bulb, that's typically what you have in your refrigerator. So, I'm thinking it's probably good for that. So, call it about 40 watts worth of light. And I got my little fancy meter on this thing. And it's hooked up in series. I got 12 volts going to it. It's using approximately a half an amp. You see 0.53, 6 volts, 6 watts. It's a little more than 6 volts. It's a little more than 0.5 amps. It's 0.53, so probably 7 watts. And I got them because I'd like to set this place up. Actually, I'd like to set the garage up, and I'd also like to set the house up, that my minimum requirements for this and for the house could come from solar. What are minimum requirements for this place? Minimum requirements would be light to navigate by, to find my tools by, and to be able to navigate and get around the place by. And a radio. That's what I define as minimum requirements for this place. So a radio over here. Minimum requirements I define for the house is the ability to keep, in the winter, to keep the pellet stove running, and to have a light on, a fluorescent light. So the pellet stove and a light would be about 100 watts, and that's going through an inverter, right? So a light and the pellet stove would use about 100 watts, and I would like to keep that on for 24 hours without having to charge. A minimum of 12 hours, but I'd really like it to go for 24 hours. So I need to basically design a system, and I think I need like 4 deep charge batteries and a couple of 100 watts worth of solar cells and a SunForce charger to keep the batteries peaked up, and then a inverter to turn that 12 volts into 120 volts, so I can power the pellet stove and power the light. And once again, I'd like to go 24 hours. If I wanted to run the satellite and a small like LED TV set, then it would go to I would be lucky if I can run on those batteries for 12 hours. But that's also in my mind, because if the power's out, you kind of want to be able to figure out why the power's out and what kind of situation you're in. My cable TV goes out regularly here, cable and internet. And I'm kind of, though I'm not in a rural area, I am in a rural area, so my cell phone, after about 6 hours, all the batteries die on the cell phone tower, so I end up losing that. So really, the only reliable way of getting information is off a satellite feed. Even if the weather's real stormy, typically, unless I'm in the middle of a blizzard, normally I could get satellite reception. Once again, if it's a real nasty blizzard, it kind of comes and goes a little bit. You get that old searching for signal on the screen, but that's very rare, like a couple of days a month. Where my satellite service, if a large man farts in my driveway, the not the satellite service, the internet and the cable go bad. And as a matter of fact, my electricity dips. Wires that feed my area must be 100 years old, and same with the cable. They probably put those cable wires in the 80s, and now that they're 30, 40 years old, they're about worthless. So I'm just trying to set it up so that I can have minimum services should the power be out. And typically the power goes out in the winter. About radio, you can say, oh, well, just listen to the radio. Believe it or not, a lot of I mean, obviously I could get radio, or you could skip AM radio and listen to Chicago or whatever. But a lot of our radio signals come off of Mount Beacon, which is, 25 miles from here in that direction. But believe it or not, the power to Mount Beacon that powers a bunch of the local radio stations, that's frequently lost. So we lose all the local news and weather and all that kind of crap too. Obviously, I can get news and weather out of New York City, and that's basically what the satellite gives me. But anyway, just a matter of putting together backup systems. So there's my babbling. These things were $3 each, right? It was a three for $10.99, shipping included, or make an offer. And I said I wanted 3 sets of 3, and I'll give you $9. So these were $3 each delivered, and they do look like they're good for the 40 watts, which makes me happy. With 9 of them, minimum lighting, you figure if you put one on the tool bench, with the garage doors up, it's hard to see anything, so one would probably have to put the lights, it really wouldn't pay to put them all the way up that high. It'd probably be more reasonable to put them on the garage door rails, actually, because if you're shining down from here and there and there, and those, that'd burn up 8 of them right there, right? And maybe number 9 underneath the bench there for finding tools, right? I don't know if I'd have them all turn on one, or have them all turn on with one switch, and then have individual switches located by each and every one, so I can, click them on and off, like right here and so forth. Anyway, but at $3 each, I thought them interesting, and I bought them. What it looks like, this is pretty stiff. This is on a board, so to speak. It slides in and out. These LED strips are on a board. And so you can also get the ones, I guess you literally cut them apart. They're on a tape, like movie film on a reel. You could buy those too. They're real reasonable. And use, then kind of set up your own thing. The thing that I find surprising is the metal here. I mean, not that it's hot to the touch, but it's warm. It's relatively warm outside too, but it's probably up 5 or 10 degrees more than ambient, more than the background temperature. It is warm to the touch. It's not hot, but it's warm. So they do generate a certain amount of heat. All right, folks. Once again, I've been babbling for 16 minutes. So my son's housing deal goes on, and I showed you guys my LED strip lights, my eBay deal. I got to thank you guys for watching, for commenting, and for subscribing. Love the subscribers. Keep subscribing, keep watching, keep commenting. Love it. Remember to keep your feet down, your head up. Live, love, and have a great time. Smile like you just stole something, or just, ran off with somebody's girlfriend. And enjoy. Take care now. Bye.